Welcome to Just Breathe. We've come together to do just that. Take a few minutes to focus our attention on the movement of our breath as it enters and as it exits the body. Welcome. We'll begin with a simple just breathe practice with an invitation to explore the letting go side. Whether that's the letting go of the breath on that exhale, or letting go of whatever might be stuck in our heart space, in our engaged tissues of doing, maybe even in the sense of the conditions of the world that we just simply can't control. This is the practice of Savasana in a nutshell, which is ultimately the practice of yoga. So we begin where we are and how we are, and let what happens happen here. Don't force it. Just open yourself up to the possibility of letting go. Root through your sits bones, rise to the crown of your head. Soften the shoulders. And as you soften the shoulders, you might feel a spreading across your chest, your collarbones. But it's not that we're trying to necessarily exaggerate a heart opening. We're trying to exaggerate the balance opening of front and back body, of grounding and rising, of inhaling and exhaling. First, just notice your breath as it is. Perhaps there's a stickiness. Maybe there's even some jaggedness or hesitancy. Just notice what's here in the breath and how you might let go, first of all, of the need for it to be perfect. Let go of the idea, perhaps, that there's a right way to do this. Last week I introduced this redistribution of timing with our breath practice. So I'm going to bring that back in this week. So it begins first by just noticing how long it takes for you to complete one round of breath. So that's the inhale followed by the exhale. And as long as the tempo is consistent, it matters not how long it takes. Test that measurement, maybe with a second or a third, and see if there is a consistency of sorts in the length of your breath. And the first layer of this intention for letting go is just to shift some of that time spent in the inhale to the exhale. So in other words, whatever number you got, divide it in half unevenly with more time on the exhale. Maybe that's just an extra count, particularly if you have an odd number. Whatever it is, see if you can take a few rounds of this intentionally uneven, emphasis on the exhale, timing. That balanced breath come back in, meaning no forced control. Doesn't mean it needs to be even inhale and exhale. Relax the jaw. Let the shoulders perhaps hang a little heavier. Maybe even the muscles across the forehead and around the eyes. Or maybe you tend to hold more of your attention in belly or buttocks. Can you use this vocalizing exhale as a sounding invitation for the tissues of the body to release their unneeded engagement, their effort of holding? Now stick with this simple vocalizing, releasing, sounding the exhale, and layer it on to that uneven breath if that feels ready and accessible to you. The other option is a little more of a vigorous option, and that's the Kapalabhati breath. Again, it's an emphasis on the exhale. So I want to layer on this energetic intention of releasing and letting go. So we'll do about 15 to 20 forced exhales, passive inhales. It's a 1-to-1 ratio for Kapalabhati. And we'll do one round and then we'll reassess. So again, Kapalabhati, for those of you who feel that that is accessible to you, layering on the sounding and a longer exhale for those who need a little bit of a gentler approach. So when you're ready, if you haven't already, begin. So in letting go of that breath, I felt the holding on in my forehead and across the eyes, trying to perhaps control the allergy congestion in my nose. Where did you perhaps notice that counterbalance of the body holding on in that intention of letting go? Let's take another round. Again, that might be 5 sounding breaths or about 20 repetitions of the quick Kapalabhati at a pace that works for you. No buzzing, no dizziness, no sense of threat. In our yoga tradition, we equate the savasana with the daily practice, the little practice of letting go, the little death, hence corpse pose. But this practice is not just to get good at taking a nap. This practice is especially designed to help us get good, to get better at letting go of all that we define and have perhaps a bit of attachment to, so that we can be just as we are and content. For me, some of the greatest areas of resistance in terms of letting go is loved ones. Be that in saying goodbye to a friendship that has outlived its service, or a loved one who has passed away, died. Or maybe it's even shedding of who I thought I was, or who I was being, as I embrace more fully the truth of who I am. In these letting goes, we can either focus on the suffering, the sadness. That doesn't mean we don't do grief. It just means that we focus on the suffering and we focus on the joy that comes from that shift, from learning how to hold gently the beauty that comes from those relationships and release that which is not ours to control. So as we come back to that even breath, see what you can cultivate in this balance of receiving and releasing. I'm going to read a poem from Lisa Lowitz entitled Resistance. The idea being, where are you resisting this flow? Where are you perhaps taking the outside world as evidence, as truth for how your inside world should be, or even vice versa? How can you cultivate that gap between what is known and unknown, between now and what's next, that liminal space that is necessary for all transformation and growth? Resistance by Lisa Lowitz. Not words, but the echo of a temple bell after it has been struck. Not action, but true awareness. Form finds form, as in painting, prayer, song. Resistance, too, finds a welcome. For without resistance, there is no yielding. Without struggle, no triumph. Without sound, no silence. What if all of your mistakes were really divine designs to teach you how to see beyond yourself? What you struggle against eventually becomes you. The way river becomes ocean, small water inseparable from big water, everything in flow. Life is this flow, this inhale, this exhale, this receiving and letting go. And the biggest resistance many of us experience is the impending, the inevitable death, the end. So whether it's a beginning, a middle, or an end, whether it's a birthing, a becoming, or a dying, this is the flow. And breath is the practice that connects us most intimately with this truth. Let's close this just breathe practice with a sounding breath of Om. Let your hands come together. Let your eyes turn in. Soften the focus if you have your eyes open. Receive the prana in this breath as you inhale, and sound on the exhale. Thank you for letting go of that breath to make sound. There are beautiful things that can come from letting go. May you breathe deeply and move freely, labor lovingly, and live vibrantly. Namaste. Look at that. We did it.